Are you guys a bit excited?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yes, yeah, me as well. Today we're going to talk about the new law amendment that went in on the July 3rd.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, guys, explain me a little bit about it.
Yes, of course. The law amendment that went into force the 3rd of July is the ban on the most polluting single-use plastic items. So we are talking about like straws, forks, knives, spoons, the cutlery set, and swaps, for example, the cut and swaps. And those are the items that are most found as litter in the seas and on Europe's beaches.
Yeah.
So that's the first force that they are enhancing to get rid of the most polluting single-use plastic items.
Yeah, it sounds like a big change for everyone.
It definitely will be.
And finally. It
Finally.
took
Yeah, and
really
finally
long
as well.
because
We've been waiting for it a long time.
and they postponed it because first it was
True.
the 1st of January 2021, but due to the COVID-19 situation, they postponed it to the 3rd of July 2021.
Okay, and of course, single-use plastics are banned now. What is the impact for, like, I can imagine like hospitality and catering? I think they use a lot of single-use plastic. What is the impact for them? What is the
They need to spend more money and they need to invest on regarding sustainable alternatives. And of course, it costs me more money in the beginning, but on the long run, in the long term, we all will advantage out of it. And
Yes, of course.
unfortunately, a law amendment needs to be implemented before people take action, and that's what we see. People do not undertake action as long as it does not influence their direct area or their territory or anything like that. So that's what definitely will change for them, though.
And for the manufacturers, like, are they out of business? Do they have to?
It's the same story though. At least the manufacturers who are currently producing with the classic plastic, they have to find different solutions. So you already have like the recycled plastics, other plastics that can be used, but the classic plastic manufacturers, they will have to search biodegradable and natural alternatives to keep producing the products that they are currently producing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like with LDPE, for example, that's what Sean mentioned, like the classic plastic. They need to search for alternatives, and I'm pretty sure many did
Already,
during the last
Yeah, because
months.
I can imagine they already knew it was coming. So
Of course, but nevertheless, although there are more sustainable plastics out there at the moment, we still have a long run to go, because a lot of this environmentally friendly plastics are just recyclable up to 50 or maybe 70%. So still, as I mentioned, a long run to go.
Yeah, so there's still residue left that cannot be composted.
And got burned straight
True.
away.
Yeah.
It still gets burned. That's what Bas is saying. We are moving forward. We're improving, but
It's not good enough.
not yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
not yet.
obviously, it's not a change that you're gonna make in a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
So we are making progress,
yeah.
but it's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and besides business, I think it also has a lot of impact for nature or our environment.
True,
Yeah.
definitely,
It definitely
at least the plastic litter that we are moving into our atmosphere, into our seas at the moment, that will definitely be a lot less. I mean, we can finally
Close the tap.
start to close the tap that has been open for all those years. Obviously, we still have the litter that's in the oceans, but for that we have charities like the Ocean Cleanup who are ridding the microplastics from the oceans. But it will definitely be a huge step to preventing from more plastics entering the oceans. And especially now with the law amendment that the most polluting single-use items are getting tackled first, that will be a major progression. So that's a huge thing that we are very happy with.
Yeah, it sounds good, and I think it's really necessary, and it's about time
Definitely.
that we get
definitely
some
is.
change. And of course, like, plastic is banned, so we have to go look for substitutes. What do you guys think about the substitutes that are currently on the market?
There are a lot of substitutes out there, and for example, if we take paper or wood, like wooden cutlery or paper straws, of course it's a okay alternative, but a lot of people do not realize that firstly it needs to get sourced from a source that we should protect, our trees, and lastly it only biodegrades and composts on temperatures above 55 degrees. So in other words, it always ends up in a composting oven, and most of it got burned straight after, straight away afterwards.
Yeah.
So
And
it's not solving the problem.
Exactly. It's what Bas always says. And he's right. It's moving the problem. Of course, it's not plastic, so we're already improving.
Yeah.
It's a renewable source, but that doesn't mean that when you cut a tree to make paper straws, that next year that same tree is gonna stand there again, absorbing the same amount of carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
And
so it's true. Eventually, it ends up in the oven anyway. So it still gets burned. So we are moving the problem instead of solving it. Of course, we're taking steps forward, but it's still a long.
And the case with the alternatives that are out there, for example, like sugarcane or avocado straws or avocado cutlery.
You have that?
No, but some competitors are coming up with that kind of alternatives. Only the big difference between compostable and biodegradable is that people label it as compostable, for example, and they are allowed to, because the law allows them to label it as compostable. Because the difference is that as soon as people manufacture a product that's compostable within 180 days, and that same law law is implemented in Australia, for example. That really shocked me as well. That as soon as it's composed for at least 50% within that time frame of 180 days, you can label it as compostable. But the process is just like up to 45 days. And even some composting facilities are doing it in 22 or 25 days. Yeah. So in my opinion, it goes wrong twice, because firstly the time frame of 180 days, that's not valid, and secondly, like 50% needs to be composted. So with other words, if we take, for example, the wheat straws, they compost within 21 days. So if we take 51% wheat straw, simple like pulp, and 49% LDPE, like
pure plastic,
that's banned now, we can label it as compostable.
That's weird.
But that's not how it should be, in our
exactly.
opinion.
Yeah.
And that's what happens nowadays. A lot of marketers are abusing the word compostable and biodegradable. Biodegradable. So therefore, we think that people need to get educated regarding this topic specifically, and people need to understand the differences between kinds of plastics, because there are thousands of plastics out there, and nobody has a clue how to separate them or what to do with it afterwards. While everybody thinks, I'm doing great.
I'm doing great, And that's the thing, it's almost like misleading for the consumer. Because the consumer does think that he's doing well, and obviously they are doing whatever they can, so they are doing well. But behind the screens, how really everything gets manufactured and afterwards separated and reused, it's different than it sounds. That's exactly what Bas says, like 50% needs to consist out of compostable material within 180 days, while the composting process only lasts from 25 until 45 days. So how is it going to compost in that time? It's not. So eventually it's still going to get burned, but it does have the label compostable. And those are things that don't add up for us.
And sometimes we're speaking to potential customers and it's like, what are you currently using for as alternative for sustainable, as alternative for plastic, as sustainable alternative? We're using a biodegradable alternative. Yeah, and what kind of material or what? I don't know. It's biodegradable, so it's okay. Yeah. And then we're like, okay, wait, we do not want to associate with parties who are thinking that they are durable and environmentally friendly, but we only want to associate with parties and companies who really know how it works. And that's the thing. People need their education. That's why we are here.
And I think also besides, of course, the effects that the substances have, I think there's also a difference in quality, right?
It is.
I mean, we're trying to look for some different options besides plastic, but...
Yeah, for example, this straw it's flexible, while paper straws, they getting soggy and leaving residue after 10, 15 minutes. While this straw feels hard and dry in the beginning, but as soon as you take 2 sips, it's just like plastic, but it still can be composted within 21 days.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it stays like that. For example, like Bas said, with the paper straws, they already... start to
it's a race against time when you're drinking with a paper straw.
Exactly.
It's straight. And with the sugarcane straws as well, they already start to get soggy and decompose in the glass while you're drinking. And those are quality standards that we are accepting now, because there are not that many better solutions, but those are for us definitely temporary solutions until we encounter the best options. Like for us it's definitely
and I also think, like, when you say like we don't have a lot of solutions yet, I think for consumers at home it's easy to have like a steel straw or maybe a bamboo straw and you reuse it, but when you have hospitality or catering,
It's
you
really
cannot
difficult.
use reusable stuff. It has to be single use.
Correct.
But still has to be good for the environment.
And that's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
And that's also what literally hospitality entrepreneurs tell us.
Yeah.
It's like two things on one with the reusable items, the reusable straws.
Yeah.
Firstly is the fact that they know that they are going to clean it well at least the first couple of weeks, but then the staff, maybe when it's a very busy night, they cannot control the cleaning process, so they don't know if everything gets cleaned exactly how it should be. And on the other hand, they say it's very theft sensitive, so people tend to literally are like, oh, that's a nice straw, I'm taking that home.
And it's so small, but so you can take it away and nobody will miss it. And that's their fear.
Their fear, exactly.
The only thing that I heard about is that I heard that people steal like these special beer glasses from the bar.
But you didn't hear that with straws.
No, I didn't hear it. But I can imagine, like, it is a small trinket, so people like put it in the bag. Take it home. Yeah, it's expensive for.
That's it. Like the reusable straws, for example, they are really expensive for entrepreneurs, so they are really keen on keeping them as well. So if people tend to take it, then it's not going to be a solution.
And sometimes people make a decision based on money, like the money valuation. Like, okay, for example, a paper straw is 1.5 cents and our straw is 1.8 cent, and then they say, yeah, but it's cheaper. Yeah, but you need to give 2 or 3 straws in one drink, while we just need to give one. And that's the thing. And the same with the reusable. People in advance it looks cheap, but as soon as people are getting
complaints like, hey, I need a new one.
They want to take it away, and then it gets really expensive. So
and also going back to the change of law, what is your general opinion about it? Do you think that it's enough, can be better? Are you already happy, satisfied?
It's a beginning. Satisfied for now, but there's still a long way to go. Obviously, we've already been looking forward to it a long time. So we are happy that finally the first implementations of the most polluting items finally got into place and into force. But obviously, there are still a lot of single-use plastic items that create a lot of litter. So it's still a long way to go. But I think we should be happy for now with the start, and now really need to keep going, moving forward to realize our mission eventually to go towards a plastic-free planet within one generation. So no more single-use plastic items within one generation on this planet.
And the thing is, as I mentioned earlier, with the government body, it's really important that the government body makes a change on top, while we as entrepreneurs are doing it on the bottom, that the people in the middle, the hospitality venues, etc., they get inspired from two sides, and that the government confirms what we are saying, and that we confirm what the government is saying. But now it's really vague. It's way too vague, and it needs to be more strict. What are the fines? Do I get fined for €100, 400? If I'm like a corporate, such as a fast food chain, do I get fined 400 or 4,000 or 40,000? I can't find anything about fines or consequences. So for me as entrepreneur, I would like to take it forward due to the fact that my guests on the terrace know that there is a law implemented, and I would like to have my sustainable visibility, of course, but what are the consequences if you're not making the change? I have no clue.
Me neither.
So that's really important that it's a first step, but now the ball needs to start rolling, and simply like in the Green Deal, for example, from Timmermans, some consequences and fines and etc. Needs to be published, in my opinion.
True.
I think it needs to be clear for everyone that you know.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It needs to be clear for everybody what are the rules and what are the consequences if you do not obey the rules.
And especially in what are the consequences per branch,
Per
because
layer,
you cannot find like the cafeteria on the corner with the same fine as you do with, for example, a corporate or a fast food chain. So that needs to be that needs some clarification.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, so a lot of interesting things around this new law amendments. Yeah,
long way to go.
Long way to go. But we made the first start, so we cannot
hopefully
be more happy
in some
with
time we will make another podcast and then we already have a new law or something else or new developments. That would be nice. Yeah, like you said, you wanted to have like plastic free within 1 generation.
That's
I think I asked this before like a few times ago, but do you think it's achievable?
I mean, like we always say, I definitely think it's ambitious.
Focus on the single-use plastic items.
That's for us the most important. That's what we say.
It must be achievable.
Definitely.
The plastics in general, for example, what we use for windows or this kind of things, it doesn't really matter. That's good. Still, we need to develop further that we can make it out of compostable materials as well. That after usage, after 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, you throw it away, but not by the plastics, but by the compost, so that it's a nutrient for the soil afterwards. But nevertheless, it's a beginning.
Yeah, it's true, and definitely what Bas says is true. The single-use items are the ones that are circulating really rapidly and causing a lot of pollutions.
Exactly.
These items, for example, you can use them for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's a different ball game, and like we said, we are definitely focused on the single-use items to prevent them from staying in our world.
Well, let's hope it will improve even more and more, and hopefully
Let's
in a fast pace. That would be very nice.
We are at least trying to do our best and doing everything we can to contribute to it.
Yeah. Okay, do you guys have anything else that you want to mention? I think we already discussed a lot around this law.
I think this is the most important thing, and we will definitely discuss this topic later on.
Maybe if we get some clarification as well, we can clarify it to the viewers again as well.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks a lot.
See you next time.
See you soon.